Tantor Audio, a division of Recorded Books, presents Ironheart and Dirty Santa by Daphne Loveling, narrated by Anastasia Watley and Troy Duran. Ironheart, Chapter 1. Tori. The image of Jesus in her lawn? I explode into the phone in disbelief. It's a good story. My editor's soothing voice comes back at me. Come on, Tori, lighten up. It'll be great front-page material, a real crowd pleaser. Are you freaking kidding me, Frank? It makes no sense, I protest, pushing the covers off of me and sitting up in bed. I mean, didn't someone just mow the image into the damn grass? How is that a miracle? You don't know that, he admonishes. Yes, I freaking do, I retort, my voice rising. Honestly, Frank, of all the stupid stories you've sent me out to do, this might actually be the worst one, which is saying something after the rooster who crows God bless America. I shake my head at the memory. That was complete and utter bullshit, by the way. You're lucky I didn't force you to upload the video on the Post-Gazette's website so people could hear it. But Frank just ignores my words. Look, just get over there, okay? He sighs. They'll be expecting you. Take Jake. He can meet you there to get some photos to go with the story. I've already told him about it, so he knows you'll be in touch. Does he think it's a miracle? I ask sarcastically. Jake isn't paid to think. Frank shoots back, a hint of irritation coming through in his tone. He's paid to take pictures. And you're paid to cover the stories I tell you to cover. Now go. And by the way, my plan is to put this story on next week's front page, so I'll expect you to finish it with your usual promptness. I open my mouth to say something else snarky, but before I can get a word in, the click on the other end tells me Frank has hung up. Letting out an incredulous huff, I toss my phone back on the nightstand and wriggle out of the covers to stand up. Unbelievable, I announce to my bedroom, which does not agree or disagree with my assessment. Very unsatisfying. It's barely 9 o'clock on a Monday morning, and already today is turning out to be a crappy beginning to what will probably be a shitty week. It's not fair, I whine in my head. I had such plans for today. I'd already gotten Frank's okay to take a half-day off from work, knowing I'd be tired after the drive back last night from visiting my parents in Columbus. I had envisioned myself having a lazy, leisurely morning, filled with nothing but drinking coffee and finishing up a romance novel I've barely had time to read. Now my much-anticipated half-day of freedom is already ruined by my own irritation at this stupid non-story Frank insists on sending me to cover. Still grumbling, I head into the hallway toward the bathroom to pee and run a brush through my bed-tousled hair. On the way, I pass by my roommate Savannah's bedroom. Her bed is made, I note, and looks untouched from last night. No surprise there. Savannah spends most nights at her boyfriend Jeremy's place these days. Even so, I feel a flash of disappointment that she isn't here. I could have used someone to vent to. Savannah always seems to get a kick out of the absurd stories Frank sends me out to cover. Pushing open the door to the bathroom, I take quick note of the pillow wrinkles on my cheek in the mirror. I make a sour face and stick out my tongue at my reflection. I swear this is the worst reporting job in the whole world, I mutter at her. Working as a features writer at the Ironwood Post-Gazette isn't at all what I'd imagined for myself when I started journalism school, that's for sure. All through my childhood, I had cherished dreams of becoming a foreign correspondent. Back then, I was sure that by now I'd be working for a nationally recognized newspaper. I'd work my way up the ladder, earning a reputation as someone willing to take any risk for a story. I'd be fearless, tough as nails, the first to volunteer to go to a war zone. I'd smoke cigars and knock back shots with the sons of despots and warlords. I'd go anywhere, do anything to get the story. Eventually, of course, I'd be recognized for my intrepid style and hard-hitting reporting with that most prestigious of journalistic awards, a Pulitzer Prize. But that was then. Back when I was still able to dream about a high-flying career. Back before I had to accept the harsh reality that it would be too risky to trot around the globe with a broken body like mine. Back before I was forced to admit to myself that the only journalism jobs in my future were the ones that didn't allow me to get too stressed and didn't involve danger. In other words, the exact opposite of what I'd wanted in the first place. Though I think an argument can be made that being forced to do a feature story on an apparition of Jesus Christ in some old lady's lawn is pretty stressful too. I splash cold water on my face, rub the sleep out of my eyes, and yank my messy blonde waves into a high knot on top of my head. When I'm done, I go back to my bedroom to grab my phone, then stumble downstairs to the kitchen to make myself some coffee. Decaf, of course. I'm not supposed to have the regular kind. As I'm measuring the coffee to put in the filter, my phone vibrates to tell me I have a call. It's my mom. I let out a low groan and consider not answering, but I know from experience that will just make her go into a panic. Better to just deal with it now. "Hi, Mom," I say brightly. "Hello, Tori, dear," comes her worried voice through the speaker. "I just wanted to call and check up that you're all right." "I'm fine," I assure her, "just like I told you when I texted you last night after I got home." "Well, I just wanted to make sure. You're taking today off to rest, right?" "Just the morning," I correct her. "I have to go cover a story this afternoon." "Don't tax yourself, Tori," she frets. I suck in a breath, slowly, and then let it out in silence, willing my irritation not to show in my voice. I can't really blame my mother for her concern. But even though she means well, the degree to which she worries about me getting stressed is, well, stressful. "I'm sure I'll be fine, Mom. I promise. I had a good night's sleep. I feel good. Everything's okay, okay?" "Well, all right," my mom breathes. "I don't suppose your father bothered to check up that you got home safely," she adds, a familiar contemptuous tone creeping into her voice. Oh, boy. "Actually, Dad asked me to text him last night when I got back to Ironwood," I say carefully. "So he knows I'm okay, too." "Oh, well, that's good," Mom sniffs, sounding disappointed. "Okay, so we're done worrying, right?" I don't wait for her to respond. "Look, I'm gonna let you go so I can grab some breakfast. Talk to you later. Love you." "Love you too," she chimes back, cheerful but forced. The relief I feel when I press the button to hang up is palpable. This scenario plays out every time I go back home for a visit. I spend the whole weekend juggling my time between my two divorced parents. Then, when I leave to come back home, we have to play the "which parent worries more about Tori" game. It gets really old really fast. If I didn't know they actually had a valid reason to be worried about me, I probably would have figured out a way to put a stop to it a long time ago. Sighing, I set the phone down and finish up prepping the coffee. Shoving some bread into the toaster to go with it, I sit down to thumb through my favorite news sites as I wait for them both to be done. I flick through the international news section of one paper, my eyes darting to different stories about conflicts throughout the world. Most people look at these stories and see things their instinct is to turn away from. I, on the other hand, see them as missed opportunities. I itch to be there, to be the one covering the story myself. I noticed that one article about something happening in Libya has a female byline. My stomach clenches. That could have been me. I could have written that story. I wonder if there's any chance the journalist who wrote that story wishes she was in my place as much as I wish I was in hers, living in a small town in southern Ohio, about to cover a story on Jesus appearing in someone's lawn. Doubtful. I'm not sure how long I spend staring at my phone, daydreaming of another life. But eventually, I'm pulled out of my thoughts by the aroma of coffee. There's another smell blending in with it, too. But strangely, it's not the smell of toast. Frowning, I look up from my screen at the kitchen counter. The auto-drip maker is making its final spurting noises, indicating the coffee's almost done. The toaster, on the other hand, is sort of smoking? Chapter 2. Tori. Shit! I screech, leaping up from the kitchen table so quickly my phone clatters to the ground. Ignoring it, I run over to the counter where I now realize the odor I smelled is burning. But not burning bread, more like burning plastic. The bread bag is nowhere near the toaster, so it can't be that. I reach to flip the toaster lever up manually, but then I realize it's not the toast that's burning, it's the cord. My hand darts to it on instinct, yanking it out of the socket before my mind can register that maybe that's a dumb thing to do. As the prongs leave the outlet, sparks fly out behind them. Jesus! I cry, hopping back in fear. Panicking a little, my first thought is to turn off the power, though I'm a little afraid to leave the kitchen in case a fire starts. I bolt downstairs to the fuse box as fast as I can, hoping I can see what to do. When I get down there, I grab the flashlight I keep next to it and shine it on the box, looking for the master switch. I see immediately that one of the fuses has blown, the interior black and fogged. It must be the one connected to the toaster. A hint of relief courses through me. So I guess problem solved? If the fuse has blown, then the current is cut, right? I don't know. I know basically nothing about this stuff, despite owning a house with wiring that hasn't been updated since probably World War II. I run back up the stairs, and when I'm back in front of the counter, I see the sparks have stopped and nothing looks like it's burning. Tentatively, I reach out a hand to touch the antique metal strike plate. It's so hot it burns the pads of my fingers, and I yelp and quickly pull away. Ouch, shit! I hiss again in the now silent kitchen, shaking my hand against the receding pain in my fingertips. It's only at this moment that I notice my heart is pounding in my chest. A tiny surge of alarm spikes in my brain, making me instantly forget everything else except calming down the beat before it starts to get worse. Putting both hands on the counter, I lean into them, stare at a fixed point on the wall, and make myself take a moment just to draw a few slow, deep breaths, counting as I go. 5, then 10. Blowing out the last breath, I notice my heart seems to be slowing again. Okay, good. It's fine. We're all good here. Thank God I wasn't on the phone with my mother when that happened, I think with a nervous bubble of laughter. She'd have called an ambulance already, and she'd be in her car racing toward Ironwood right now. With a final shaky sigh, I turn around and lean back against the counter. I stare at the open door that leads to the basement, the problem of my wiring issue coming back into focus. I guess calling an electrician has officially moved to the top of my home renovation and repair list. Thanks, Aunt Jean, I say out loud to the empty room. I think. When my Aunt Jean died early last year, I'm sure she thought she was doing me a favor by leaving me this old, sprawling Queen Anne-style house in her will. With the house, she also left me an entire new life. An easy, comfortable life that I only had to step into, like slipping into a warm, comfortable bath. I'm sure she thought she was doing me a favor with that, too. It certainly did make some things easier for me. But sometimes, like today, for example, the ready-made life I've been leading in Ironwood, Ohio since I moved here feels more like a prison than anything. I only found out that Jean had been diagnosed with terminal cancer after she died. She hadn't bothered to tell anybody in our family, which, even though it was a shock, was just the sort of behavior I would have expected out of my only aunt. Jean was never the kind of lady who wanted sympathy or attention. She absolutely hated people fussing over her. She would have, especially in a situation like hers, when ultimately, we found out later, there hadn't been much to be done to help her. Her family doctor shared with us after her death that by the time they found the cancer, there was no chance of successfully curing it. The only thing that could have been done for her was potentially to give her more time, but that would also have probably involved a long, drawn-out death in a hospital bed or hospice. Knowing Jean as well as I did, I imagined she didn't want to have to argue with family and friends about expensive and ultimately futile treatments. She probably didn't want to spend her waning energy batting away their insistence that if anyone could beat the odds, it was her. Instead, my Aunt Jean had chosen to live out the last months of her life much as she had lived the previous years, on her own terms, fiercely independent, and with no intention of sacrificing her freedom to anyone or anything. Jean lived here in Ironwood for her entire adult life. She moved here as a newlywed with her brand-new husband, Jim, when they were both in their early 20s. When Jim died 12 years later, the two of them hadn't yet had any children, so Jean was left alone with this house and the town that had become her adopted home. She never remarried, never even dated again as far as I know. She just got on with life, as was her nature. I always wondered if Jean regretted not becoming a mother. But if she did, I never heard it from her lips. Instead, my mother's older sister treated me like the daughter she'd never had. All throughout my childhood, I would come to Ironwood and stay with Jean for 6 weeks every summer. She was a school teacher and had summers off herself, so she'd spoil me rotten, with lazy days at the public pool, trips to the local Dairy Queen for my favorite hot fudge sundaes, and movie marathons, complete with all the popcorn I could eat, slumped back in her overstuffed couch in front of her TV. As I said, Jean didn't tell anybody in our family that she was sick, but she clearly wasn't in denial about her state. In those final months, having been deprived of a future for herself, she turned to thinking of somebody else's, namely, mine. Jean wrote up a simple will with her lawyer, saying that the house and everything in it would be left to me, as well as her car and everything else on the property. And I've never been able to verify this, but I'm also pretty sure Jean talked to her old friend Frank Lemoyne, the editor and half-owner of the Ironwood Post-Gazette, and got him to offer me the job of features writer 3 days after Jean's funeral. To this day, I'm not sure if either of these things has been quite the gift she meant them to be. Hands on my hips, I heave a deep sigh as I stare at the outlet and at the now black piece of toast in the cooling toaster. Well, at least the coffee finished brewing before everything went to hell. I turn the toaster upside down and shake it until the burnt toast falls into the sink, where I leave it for now. Then I reach into the cupboard and pull down a mug with a picture of a daisy emblazoned on it and pour myself a cup. I take an experimental sip, testing the hotness. Sitting back down at the table, I lean over, grab my phone from where it's fallen to the floor, check to make sure the screen isn't broken, and send 2 texts. The first one is to Jake, the photographer. I tell him to get the address of the Jesus Lawn House from Frank and say I'll meet him there at noon. The second is to Savannah, telling her about the toaster incident and warning her to watch out for any new problems. I'll figure out what to do about all of this later. Right now, I need to figure out something else for breakfast. And then I need to get ready to go do my damn story.
Chapter 3. Dante. The second the harsh knock sounds at my door at 10 o'clock on a Monday morning, I know shit is about to go seriously tits up. Nobody ever comes to my door this early. They fucking know better. They should, anyway. I'm not an early riser, and I ain't someone who's overly fond of having people in my house at any time of the day. My club brothers know this. My neighbors know this. And for everybody else, the sign on my front door that says, "Go the fuck away," should convince them not to take their chances. I lie there silent for a few seconds, hoping whoever it is will just obey the damn sign and go the fuck away. They don't. The knock comes again, more insistent this time. It's muffled by the pillow over my head, but still loud enough to make me growl with frustration. "God damn it!" I shout, throwing the pillow across the room. "I'm coming. Calm your tits. I don't bother getting dressed. I haul ass out of bed, get to the front door, and fling it open, ready to unleash hell on whatever unfortunate motherfucker is on the other side. Holy shit. Just my luck. About the only person I can't immediately beat to shit is standing there in front of me, complete with a shit-eating grin on his face. And the only reason I won't beat the hell out of him is because the same blood runs through our veins. God fucking damn it, I growl. What the hell are you doing here? Rise and shine, brother mine, he announces. Nice morning wood, by the way. Dominic, I groan. I should have known. There's only one person I can think of who knows better than to show up at my door like this, but who doesn't care. Who knows he's the last fucking person in the world I want to see. And shows up anyway. It's fucking tempting to reconsider whether it's wrong to pound a sibling into the ground. You are dead, I mutter, but he just grins wider. Sorry, did I wake you? He tosses back, in a tone that makes it clear he doesn't give a shit. Why the fuck don't you ever bug one of our other brothers when you need help? They don't get as bent out of shape, he retorts smugly. It ain't as much fun. Fuck me if he ain't right. Dominic has always had a special innate talent for pissing me the hell off. I suppose I gotta let you in, I grumble, even though I don't move out of the doorway yet to let him in. By the way, there's a goddamn doorbell, you asswipe. Use it next time. Noted, he chuckles. I turn to go back inside the house, assuming he'll follow me. You here for a handout? I bark over my shoulder. Hey, lay off that, he throws back, an edge suddenly appearing in his voice. I haven't borrowed money from you for a long time. No, I snort. You haven't borrowed money. Borrowing implies you pay me back, you shit weasel. From that perspective, you've never borrowed money from me in your life. I stalk back into my bedroom and pull on a pair of jeans, then come back out in the living room. I glower at him. Well, what do you need then? I ask irritably. I'm sure this ain't a social call. As a matter of fact, it is, he counters. Really? I cross my arms in front of my chest. Can't I just want to see my big bro? He spreads his hands wide. No, I grunt. Now I know he's full of shit. He never acknowledges I'm older than he is unless he wants to butter me up. For fuck's sake, Dom, just spill it. What are you doing here? How long you planning on staying? For good. What? I give him a sharp glare. I'm back in town, my brother says simply. I'm moving back to Ironwood. Why the fuck couldn't you just call me first? I snarl. Dominic is sprawled on the couch. I'm sitting in the chair across from him. I wanted to surprise you. I fucking hate surprises, I shoot back, especially bad ones like this. Why the hell would you be moving back to Ironwood anyway? You flew out of here like a bat out of hell as soon as you could after high school. I got my reasons, he shrugs. Tired of the rat race, I guess. Tired of being a rat, you mean? Dom's practiced expression slips a little. For a millisecond, I see a flash of anger. But just as soon as it's there, it's gone again. Tired of working for other people, he says casually. I figured I could come back here, start from scratch, be my own boss for a change. Is that right? I'm skeptical as hell. As long as I've known him, Dom doesn't work. What he does is get himself into get-rich-quick schemes that go down the tubes and then skip town before he has to deal with the fallout. Yeah, the shit-eating grin is back. I got some ideas. I'll tell you about him eventually. Meantime, I was hoping you'd let me crash here at your place for a little bit. Stay here. I shake my head in disbelief. God damn, there it is. I knew you were here for a handout. You never changed, Dom. It ain't a handout, Dante, he insists. His jaw is tight, pulsing. But if he's pissed at me, he's smart enough to push that shit down deep. It's like I told you. I'm coming back to Ironwood for good. This ain't a scam. I'm done with hustling. I just need a place to stay until I can get my feet under me and start up a legit business. He gives me his best trust me look. I should have shut the door in his face as soon as I opened it. You on the run from someone? I ask. That what this is about? His eyes flicker away for a millisecond, then come back to mine. No? He shakes his head vigorously. I just want out of that life. Why? He lets out a laugh. Do I need a reason? You? Yes. He doesn't say anything. He looks down at his hands. Dante, I'm asking you this one favor. Please. He sounds weirdly subdued, more humble than I've ever heard him. God damn it. Dom has never been anything but trouble since he was old enough to walk and talk. I should throw the fucker out on his ear. And for a second I consider it. But then our ma's face appears in my mind. She would want me to take him in.
Family's family,
she'd say.
Family forgives.
I pause a few seconds, then sigh. You got any bags? I ask grudgingly. Dom stays still, knowing I haven't said yes yet. Just one. Out of the car. I glance out my front window toward my driveway. There's a late model black SUV parked in it that I don't recognize. From here it looks like a BMW X5. The last few years, seems like Dom's got a new car every time I see him. Fine, I grouse. You can stay for a couple days, but when I say you're gone, you're gone. Of course, he agrees immediately. You got anything to eat? I ain't hungry, he replied, but I could use a couple hours of shut-eye right now, and a shower after that. I swivel my head back toward my brother and give him a closer look. For the first time, I notice the 5 o'clock shadow on his normally clean-shaven face. His eyes are red and tired, like he hasn't had much sleep lately. Well, I figure I'll pry the story out of him later. Sighing again, I stand and lift my chin toward the hallway. Spare room's down the hall, on the right, I grunt. Thanks, brother. Dom grins, his face brightening again. Think I'll go grab my stuff then. Dom heaves himself up off the sofa and goes outside. A few seconds later, a car door slams, and he returns with a medium-sized forest green duffel bag. I don't say anything to him as he walks through the living room, then down the hall to what will be his room for the next few days. I stand alone in the middle of the empty living room, feeling pissed at myself. I don't like having my space invaded, not even by family. Hell, especially not by family. With Dom here, any peace and quiet I might have enjoyed this morning is gone. I'm too jacked up now to go back to bed. I don't have any job scheduled for today and nothing else planned until church at the clubhouse later on. I decide to go grab breakfast at Della's, the diner downtown where the MC goes sometimes. A mess of eggs and some bacon might get me out of this shitty mood Dom's put me in. And even if it doesn't, Della's coffee is strong enough to slap an ox awake. The ride down to Della's is only a couple miles. I grab my usual booth and eat my plate of eggs and bacon in pretty short order, served by Della herself, with a side order of old lady sass. A couple of my Lords of Carnage brothers come in just as I'm finishing up, so I stay to shoot the shit with them for a while. By the time I get back home, it's past noon. I park my Harley in the driveway next to my brother's SUV. Cutting the engine, I lean the bike into its kickstand and climb off. I start to head for my front door, but a mix of voices, familiar and unfamiliar, catch my attention. Glancing in the direction of the sound, I look across the narrow, empty lot next to my house, to the property on the other side. My neighbors, Crazy Millie and her son Eddie, are standing on their back lawn. Millie's in one of her usual flowered pink moo-moo things, her silver hair and kind of a cap on her head. Eddie's in his usual uniform too, buzzed hair sitting like a short carpet on his large square skull, blue t-shirt stretching across his thick stomach, and faded jeans that hang low and loose. Even from here I can tell they're threatening to expose his ass crack. They're not alone, though. 2 other people are standing out there with him. One's a chick I've never seen in town before, with honey-colored blonde hair piled into a high, messy bun at the top of her head. Even from here, I can tell she's young and hot. Standing next to her is a scrawny dude her age or a little younger, holding a camera that's almost as big as his head. The four of them seem to be looking at something on the ground. As I watch, Eddie keeps pointing to it, then raising...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?